Good morning and welcome to this service of the Unity of Learning. It's always wonderful to be with you. And from so many of you, I hear that you enjoy being with us. Hope that's because you feel the love that's here and you feel the tie that binds us, which is love. And we'll be talking about that this morning. So, as I always say, you're in for a wonderful treat. And come and join the family. Thank you.
All right, welcome to Unity of Learning. We're going to stand this morning. Dana, we're going to sing something.
What is that song?
In the sun. In the sun. How can you sing in the silence?
Somebody close to you say, you look fantastic.
You look fantastic. And you.
You look
Brent, can you hear?
So we're getting ready to take that again if we can fill out. We'll do that soon. September, October daily words are out shooting in the back table. If you don't have one, grab one on your way out. Lunch is Shanghai, I think today. Is that true? All right, clock AM, she's back to go. What else is I going to tell you this morning? I don't know that I have much else to do. We move pretty quickly here. Is there something that? Oh, anybody here for the first time? We need to get that.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't mind to embarrass you, but do you mind just standing and telling us who you are?
Oh, I'm Nancy McGallard. I'm from Huntsville, Texas. I'm visiting Mark and Mark.
Yay!
Welcome.
We have another one in the back.
We do.
Hi, I'm Catherine and I live in San Antonio.
Hi, Captain.
Hi.
Thank you for joining. All right, we move on. Everybody, all right, we have the daily word with Linda. I was told to get my stuff out of the way here.
familiar faces I love and look forward to seeing, in the satisfaction I get from my work. It is in my favorite things and in the sweet surprises that come from trying something new and different. Joy is in the comfort I find in my favorite spiritual practices and in finding God anew as I deepen in spiritual insight. However it manifests, joy is part of me, a way to feel the peace and power of God in my heart and deep in my soul. The scripture comes from 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 22. As they ate and drank before the Lord on that day with great joy. Again, the affirmation, if you'd like to say it with me.
I rejoice in life's simple pleasures.
My name is Linda, and I thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
I'll remind everybody, if you'd like to read the daily word, there's a sign-up sheet in the back. A good way to share yourself for the congregation, so think about it. Going to move on. Miracle moment. Would you stand, please? We can affirm that together.
Christ is the light of my mind, illumined are my thoughts. Christ is the love of my heart, compassionate are my words. Christ is the strength of my hands, helpful are my deeds. Christ is the power of my legs, effortlessly I walk his path. Christ is the understanding of my eyes, pure is my vision. Christ in me, my all. Christ in all I see.
Please stay standing. We're going to do our celebration song.
I now let go. There's nothing to fear. I now let go. There's nothing to fear. I now let go. There's nothing to fear. I now let go. I now let go. There's nothing to fear. I realize there's only one power. 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 I realize I'm one with the one. I realize I'm one with the one. I realize I'm one with the one. I realize I'm one with the one.
Stay right there. We're going to do our opening prayer together. Unity.
Is a
Vibrant, loving, spiritual
community, providing a sacred space for personal growth. We
honor and celebrate the Christ within all people.
So I know everybody's got a prayer card in their order of service. You fill those out now if you'd like. Prayer boxes will come on shortly. You can put those in now, or you can leave them anytime really during the service, or drop them anywhere really, and it'll get there eventually. So they get prayed over for a time here, and they get sent out to silent unity where they get prayed on for their day. So I know a lot of times we think of prayer as something we're maybe asking for or wishing for, but also kind of a time of celebration, so we have those. The prayer team loves to do celebrations as well as, other things as well too, so think about it, if it's something that's in your heart, you want to share it, with the universe, so be it, so we come share it.
Thank you. And good morning. As
Good morning.
Brent said, we are, this is a time of prayer in our church. We are a praying church. We know that the only type of prayer there is answered prayer. Right now, I ask you to bring forth inside yourself the highest understanding you have of your own divinity, and know that there's no place that you are that God is not, and that you're no stranger in this prayer, in this presence, whether you use the pronoun his, her, it doesn't matter. Love knows when love calls. And that's ultimately what we're affirming here, that love's will be done. Right now, I ask you to join me in prayer. Infinite loving presence, we give thanks for you. You are the light by which we see. You are the love by which we live. Each one of us has cares and concerns, joys and celebrations, things that we may not even speak aloud, but you know us. We're no surprise to you. And nothing and nowhere would we go to flee from your presence. Your presence is the vivifying, recreating, animating, joyful, loving, author of everything good. We affirm that your perfect will is done in the lives of these dear ones represented with prayers in this box. We affirm the sacred truth that the requests of our heart are dear to you, and that you show us your will through love and the great and vast ocean of mercy that is hallmark of divinity. We affirm this now. We accept it now. We make room for it in our hearts. Love is our intention. And so it is.
song of hope. This is a song of hope.
Yeah.
So today happens to be Celebration Sunday. So birthdays, anniversaries, like healing of some kind. You like the cooler weather. Somebody's pointing at Diane. Trying to make Diane come up. Need to celebrate a life well lived. There comes Pat. Right on the fence. Oh, Chris is on the fence.
She's off the fence.
You good bless people.
Somebody's got to do it.
Where to start?
Ladies first.
Ladies first. Your name?
My name is Diane.
And what you
I'm celebrating another year that
celebrate?
comes closer together.
Good. There's a lot of us in October. Your name?
My name is Linda.
Celebrate.
And I am celebrating my birthday as well as your birthday.
Yep.
Mine is the 4th, this is the 3rd, hers is the 4th.
October people. Awesome. What's your name?
My name is Pat, and today I'm celebrating. I got to spend time with my sister Mary yesterday, and her birthday was last week. And my cousin from Minnesota came down, and today is my daughter's birthday, and I get to spend it with her, and I'm so happy he's here.
Buda.
Buda.
All right. Your name?
Peaky, peaky,
Well, I am celebrating my Creator who formed me after His image. I am celebrating that He is so gracious and loving and always reassuring and giving me all His blessings. And the gift that He told me, the word that He gave me this morning was, I am the potter and you are the clay. And as I received that word, I also came into my mind the gratitude and the delight I have that He always keeps reshaping me and reinterpreting everything, all my experiences, and just giving me hope because He can always have a perspective and a deeper understanding. And when I try to do it on my own, it doesn't come out good. So I celebrate life.
And it's your
Very
birthday
good.
tomorrow.
And
Yeah, actually, yes, it's today. Celebrating 71 years today.
awesome. All right, young lady.
All right.
Thank you.
This is your first time to step up there, too.
Okay. I am celebrating the 6th great grandbaby. And after 6 of them, I have a hard time. This one, to remember their names. You know, if you have all these grandchildren, then you've got all these great-grandchildren, and you've got to remember all those names. This one is real hard, and I thought, how am I going to remember that one's name? And I kept thinking, well, to remember it, maybe he'll own the hotel. That was my clue. That's what God told me to remember. And so let me think, what is it that comes to your mind if you own the hotel? Hilton. Owen. Maybe that wasn't a good way to.
Best Western.
Marriott.
Mary.
Joaquin Cat.
Conrad. What is Conrad?
Conrad Hilton. Okay, Conrad Hilton. Only he doesn't have the Hilton yet. But his name is Conrad. He's the newest great grandbaby. So that's the sixth one. So here's to Conrad. We give thanks for that. That's all.
Awesome.
I haven't met you yet, and I'll have to try to. I could wear a name tag.
Your name?
My name is Chris.
What are you celebrating?
I'm celebrating the fact that one of my younger grandsons is a freshman at Regan High School in San Antonio. And yesterday they performed at the Bands of America regional. And in the preliminary, they were the top team out of, I don't know how many, 30 bands. And they got in their classification, which is based on how many kids are from grade 10 through 12, so they're in classification 4. They got the best music performance, the best visual performance, and the best general effect. Unfortunately, in finals, they did not do quite that well. In finals, they got best music performance, but they came in second, also behind Carolyn. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to a good competition season because they've done so well their first competition. The other thing I want to celebrate is that my mother was born late in this month. The 26th was her birthday. She would be 118 had she lived so long.
Where was your mom?
Wow. Huh?
Where was she? Where she live?
Where did she live?
Yeah.
She lived here.
She was here.
Yeah. When she
What was her name?
Alexandra.
Alexandra.
Al.
Nice.
Yes. Alexandra.
All right. Pick the manly one.
What's the manly one? I don't
That
know.
one, maybe.
That
I
one?
guess.
Sure.
Your name.
Tom.
What are you celebrating?
I have lots of things to celebrate. Primarily, I've been on kick for a month and a half here. Regarding my sister, some of you prayed with me a couple of years ago when she had her upper jaw removed and replaced with transplant stuff. And she developed, it wasn't perfect seal at the roof of her mouth. And so for 2 years, she's been surviving on thick liquids, ice cream. And because liquids tend to go up through the little hole and into her nasal passages, and she just got that fixed.
Yay!
Which meant there was no escape of air when she was trying to talk. So now she can enunciate her words. She is so happy. I couldn't be happier for her than she is for herself. I'm very, very thankful. I want to thank everybody who prayed with me this month for that. It's so such a reward to see that, because it's sort of like when something is really serious for a family member, everybody feels the weight of that in some form or fashion, and that you have no one back up. I don't have words to describe this sense of assistance and relief and support that was giving to me, and I was trying to pass that on in my prayer, surround her with that. So thank you very much for all of that.
Yay. Hold your hands up to these fine people, wave your fingers, say, we honor your celebrations.
We honor your celebrations.
And we're assured the best is yet to come.
And we're assured the best is yet to come.
How does it get better than 6 great grandkids?
Well, it's a deep subject.
The Lord said that He would be. It doesn't take very many. It can be just 2 or 3. And I feel the same sweet spirit say, I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. There's a holy hush of angels sings, glory of His grace. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
And in this time of peace, celebrating the presence that is not only in this place, but is in each and every one of us. We go to that place that is, we're familiar with it. And if we're not, right now we make the acquaintance of the place inside us that is pure stillness, pure light, pure love. Never been purged. It can't be affected by what happens in this relative world. It isn't the truth of you. And in this upcoming silence, we're going to align ourselves, releasing what we need to release and accepting every good thing that we know is ours in spirit. In this silence, we're renewed. We're recreated. truth of us eternally. We're aligned with that. We claim we are new creations right now. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things become new. In this place, at this time, right now. And so it is. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, people. It's been wonderful to have these folks here. This morning, I'd like to talk to you about the idea of you being a natural. The idea that there is a self of us that sometimes is created, or many times created by artifice, artificial. We feel we have to be something or someone or some position or something in our lives. We have to be a certain way in order to fit in. That we have to assume a persona that isn't necessarily ours. We all know this. We walk into parties and we want to put our game face on. We want, everyone to like us and accept us and admire us. We do these things so many times without giving it a second thought. And when we go and lead this, and it's just whatever it is, it's just us, then we forget almost who we are. Listen, this is a big one, especially for me. How many people here have known other people, or maybe it's been that way yourself, that their opinion is the one of the last person they met? In other words, they give in to go along, to get along, and what they're doing is they're giving themselves away piece by piece by piece, little by little, and to wake up one day and say, who am I? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? Why? That great question, why, generally comes from the fear that in the present, I'm not living to my full potential. When we have, in other words, Dale Carnegie, my hero, really said, if we have the time to remonstrate about everything that we're not, we're losing what we could be doing right now. In other words, the secret of misery is to have the leisure to sit back and ponder your misery. If you get up and get moving, and I find this to be true, anything, get up and get moving, the natural part of you responds to your intention, and you put out a vibration that attracts even more of that from this universe and from those around you. We've all done it. We walked into a room and we felt the energy sink because the collective consciousness of the people in that room perhaps is not as positive as it could be. Or we may not feel so wonderful sometimes. We walk into a place and we say, wow, I'm uplifted. It's not those things out there that are doing it to you. Spiritual intelligence will tell you that you are the author of your feelings. That may trip something in you, that outside occurrence may trip something in you, but it had to be in you to be tripped. We're giving away our power when we claim that something out there does this or does that. You're a natural. You have everything you need to walk this human experience. And it's so many times it gets burlesqued and it gets people say, well, I'm just human, what do you expect? Let me tell you something, I am what you call a spiritual humanist. And by that I mean this. I don't believe there's a stain of original sin that needs to be washed away from me. Never did. I don't believe that there's anything that you've done, ever done, or will do that's a surprise to this universe. As a matter of fact, I believe that you and me and anyone else were probably doing, really was doing the best they knew how at the time, given their knowledge and awareness of the facts in front of them. Now that could be hard if that person has hurt us or hurt others, but think about it. You can never act higher than your level of awareness. And that's why what we feed ourselves is so important. That's why we're told not to forsake the assembling of ourselves together. That's what we do on Sundays. We come together corporately, and I mean that as a body, not necessarily in business. We come together corporately to remember for one another those things that we tend to forget through the week. And why do we forget that? Because we have a world that impinges on us in every way. I've said it before. Buy this body spray, buy this mouthwash. You're not complete without this car. You got to go to this restaurant or you're losing out. Over and over again, we're diminished, and our own decision-making ability is pushed to the side because somebody else says, we know what's good for you. And then, have you noticed that when you do, if you've ever done something because somebody said you should do it, and once you've done it, they kind of melt away. They've gotten what they want out of you. They scored, quote, their victory. To many people, life is a victory over other people. You know what the victory to me is, and what I think it should be to everyone, is the victory over myself. Because if I look in my life at the one that's caused me the most problems, all I have to do is look in the mirror. You know why? Because even if it wasn't my fault, so to speak, it was still my reaction that caused my trouble. See, I'm always at power because I'm the author of what I think. That scares the hell out of some people. They'll drink it down. They'll drug it down. They'll push it down. They'll try to give it away with anything rather than stand in the authority of their own being and say, this I am, this I will be, and walk in a new direction in life. They want the past to define them, their mistakes to give them a sense of identity. There's a reason we call this new thought in unity. It's new because we believe that every moment is new. We believe that the masters of every spiritual tradition came to tell us about a newness and a richness and a depth and a quality of life that we heretofore hadn't seen. It's always, have you noticed, it's always the effort of one enlightened person. And then what happens? A lot of people form big groups around that person. And the next thing you know, their religious movements and the beauty and sweetness of the purity of what began becomes loaded down with a bunch of rules, regulations, opinions, ideas, and the way it should be. And we call that religion. And we call that spiritual. And it passes from generation to generation. And we say, many of us say, but look at this world. Look at what's going on. I like what one person said about Christianity. I believe his name was Bruce Lawler. He said, Christianity has not been tried without a warning. It hasn't been tried. Think about that. Think about the power that you have as an individual to mold your life, and in so doing, you help mold others. And the old saying that people make, I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. That kind of scares me because I make my living doing it. But I hope that I so live as well to match my words. If I don't, I quickly forgive myself and get on with it. I don't build a case against myself. I'm a pastoral counselor. We're pretty low on the food chain of counselors. I mean, it goes all the way up, but it's been a richness that I'm glad that I've seen in my life and participated in. Do you know that what people do when I've seen them across from me when they want consulting or counseling, they're masters at building cases against themselves. They can talk about things exquisitely that they have done wrong. They can wax poetically about everything that has been the tragedy in their life. But when it comes to talking about the good parts of themselves, if I ask, what is it in you that you feel is good? What makes you you? What are you happy about yourself with? Many times there's silence. It takes a while for them to get a hold of it. Sometimes it gets real awkward. Well, I don't know. I've never thought of it that way. See, all this happened, and I did this, and I'm so ashamed, and if only. Oh, those words, if only. If only are the words of the ones that is caught thinking about how you can go build a better past. But you can't do that. Given now. Now is what we have. It's all we got. And we celebrate that in our tradition. The power of now. Eckhart Tolle wrote a great book by that time. Because it always is now. So when I talk about you being a natural, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind that you may have buried under loads of the years or other people's opinions, or just let your mind go free with it? What have you buried that you need to unearth inside yourself that gives you a sense of joy? And you don't even necessarily have to do something good. For example, I decided that I want to do some watercoloring. I'm terrible at it, but I love it. It's fun to do it. I'm not going to sell any paintings anywhere. It's just something I enjoy. What rings your bell? These are the things that if you pay attention to them, you bless us all. If you're walking in a narrow, circumscribed way because of what you have been or done or thought or feel that you can't escape, you're robbing all of us of the gift of you. You know, oneness is not boring. We're connected by our common humanity. We all pretty much want the same thing. But so many times we take ourselves and set ourselves apart and say, oh, but if they only knew what I thought, what I did, what I feel. It's a shame. No, I don't mean just it's a shame. It's shame that binds us. John Bradshaw wrote a book entitled Healing the Shame That Binds You. Charles Whitfield wrote a book about that same time called Healing the Child Within. This was in about the early 90s when consciousness was really coming to a head about what we need to do to heal. Yes, we have an inner child. And yes, that child so many times was shamed and hurt and not given the love and support it needs. That's why there's such a thing as what we do here. You may have heard of rebirthing. You may have heard of Gestalt. You may have heard of Rolfing. All these things that I'm familiar with, they all say the same thing. Basically, it's time to love yourself, forgive yourself, and start all over again. I absolutely love to take these metaphysical concepts and boil them down to their essence. So many people are in love with their own words. And they talk about something like I'm talking about so long and so much, you get lost in the weeds. It's really about the naturalness of forgiving, because you live in a world where you're going to make some mistakes, and so is somebody else. Forgiving is not only spiritual, it's practical. And the next thing is to know that you're really doing the best you can right now. You don't think, you think, oh, I can always do better. Well, if you could, you would. And you will. If finds a place for you. You judge yourself. I judge myself. You're judging yourself harshly. And by whose standards? And how long ago? That kind of thing creates shame. Toxic shame hurts. Toxic shame fills mental hospitals and bars and unhappy marriages. Think about this. Two people get married. I've officiated so many weddings, I can't actually remember the number. But they say, I love you forever. Now you're mine, and I'm yours, and that's the way it is. A few years go by, something changes, energy changes. And the things that bound you together to begin with become fingers that you point at one another. That thing that was so cute to begin with becomes so irritating now in the other person. What happened? Some people say, well, the karma changed. Okay, I'll go with that. Or it just grew apart, whatever. But what happens then is that sometimes the partners get scared and say, well, okay, I'm going to control. They don't say it necessarily out loud. I'm going to control this person. I'm going to make sure that I can, I'm in charge. And usually it's the men who try to do it to the women. It's born of fear. It's born of the fact that they don't have anything else to do with this relationship besides try and say, I'm in charge. I would love anybody in a relationship with me to feel free enough to go out and be themselves, experience what they want, and come back and tell me how exciting it was, or whatever happened, it's something new and fresh. When I say, people say that they want to get married, I say, that's wonderful, but don't just get married, be marriaging. Do it every day. Khalil Gibran and the prophet said, let there be spaces in your togetherness. There's a reason for that. Because you can't grow in each other's shadow. The naturalness of who we are demands respect for ourselves as individuals. Doesn't mean that we don't love our partner or our spouse. It means that we love ourselves enough to know that we have to take care of our needs, our basic needs. And when we do that, we become happy enough to share with another person and vice versa. And that's what I call a happy relationship. But far be it from me. Some folks have made what I think are difficult relationships work their whole life. I honestly, on one side of my family, I don't know how my grandparents stayed married for 57 years. I really don't. They fought, they loved, they pointed fingers, they did all kinds of things to one another. There was a love underneath there, but boy, it was sure hard to find, but it worked for them. There was no divorce. A few pots and pans flew. The holidays were interesting sometimes, and it was never boring. But it worked for them. My point is, if something works for somebody, we have the wit to leave it alone. But if there's a nagging feeling in you that you're not being your natural self, and I should say, some people don't want this naturalness that I'm talking about. They're very happy assuming a persona and walk with it until it is no more. The problem with personas and images is that they change, because this is a changeable world. And when that happens, I want you to know where you can run, where you can come back to, where you can run back to. That's the story of the prodigal son. Off in the far country, spending his life in profligate living, and is able to come back like it never even happened, and be part of his father's, be his father's son. We're all prodigals because we're all in this world that seems so strange sometimes and so removed from divinity. Can anybody look out what is out in front of us right now, around us, behind us, what we're going through, and say that does it in any way make sense? Doesn't make sense because we have a lot of people that are not thinking sensible thoughts, that are not aligning with the integrity of their being. It has nothing to do with candidates. It has nothing to do with parties. It has to do with here. The fight, the battle is always here. And what we see is the disowned effects, the projected effects, and we get so angry at it. We heal the civil war inside ourselves if we take as much time to go into the natural part of ourselves as we do pointing our fingers at other people, then we're all going to rise. But it has to be that each person understands the responsibility they're charged with by being this thing called human. I'm, for one, have had plenty of hearing about the church tell people they're broken and that they're naturally bad. Anybody ever remember reading a book or hearing a book called Original Blessing by Matthew Fox? It was the idea that we're not stained with any original sin naturally. We have the blessing because we're individuations of God. We forgot that. I'm here this morning to remind you of your natural inheritance. And I'm here this morning to tell you that if there's shame inside you, if there's pain, and generally with shame there is pain, if there's a toxic feeling you're not good enough, or you've done something that you can't forgive yourself for, or somebody's done something to you that you can't forgive them for, or just take any negative thing and extrapolate. I'm telling you that there's a place that you can come to this morning by a simple decision. It means surrender your limited understanding to God's greatest understanding. It means being willing to let your hands go from the reins. You know, some people are fearful to let go, even if they're driving in the wrong direction. I'm a guy. I know this. I'll go the way far out of my way before I go ask somebody where I am. I've done it. I did it here. I went about 5 or 6 miles out of my way because I egotistically wouldn't ask for directions. Finally, I sheepishly walked into the store. This was before Siri, and found out if I just asked a little earlier, I wouldn't be late. If we just asked, if we could put that side of us to the side and just ask for the help. And haven't you heard people say that? The beginning of meaningful self-change. I need help. I can't do it alone. The 12-step groups talk about that as the first step. Admitted that we were powerless. Not that our natural state is broken, but that in our humanity, in our choice-making ability, we may have chosen wrongly. But that doesn't make us wrong. Don't identify the act and the actor. Don't misidentify the act and the actor. You are greater than anything you've ever done, anything that's ever happened to you, or anything that ever will happen. And I'm here to remind you of that this morning. Don't fear being natural. Don't think it means being born. Don't think that it's a term for somebody else. Being natural really is being your God's son. And you don't have to pray to say, I need to get rid of all these negative things. They'll fall away in the light of understanding. Do you ever have to coax the darkness out of a room in which you turn on the light? What happens? When you turn on the light, and you turn on the light inside you, all that stuff melts away. That's what I believe. I dedicated my life to saying. That's what I believe when the Master said, I'm come that you have life and have it more abundant. It's always about letting something go that didn't work so you could accept the life right now. It wasn't about condemning, criticizing, complaining, or hurting yourself. We do that out of misplaced guilt and shame. This morning I invite you, if you thought anything of yourself other than that you're a wonderful child of a loving God, I invite you to release that, let it go, and get the opinion that God has about you. You that watch online, and I hear from a lot of you, and I've counseled some of you, and I know that what I'm talking about may get a little close to home. I invite you to be part of this, if you choose, this wonderful church we have right here. This is a place where people uphold one another. But if you can't, or for whatever reason, I'm glad that you're able to tune in. It means a lot to our church that our outreach is reaching these places, reaching who you are. I ask you to give your best financial gift. We'll talk about that in a minute so we can keep this work going. I ask that from you, and I'll be talking about that in just a moment. We'll leave you with one last point. To heal toxic shame. To really let go of the things that have held you back is either the effort of a lifetime or the enlightenment of a moment. Think about this with great depth. Think about that awesome power of choice. To choose, once again, as the Course in Miracles says, our greatest power is to choose in favor of who we really are. And watch all those boogeymen and bad things that we call them and all that run away. And we make that choice and turn on the light inside of us. I see each one of you lit up this morning. I see each one of you walking into new and wonderful ways of thinking. And I declare it is so. And so it is. And now, come to that part of our sermon. And I know you all listen every week. I want you just inclineth your ear a little more. This church depends, and its work depends on your giving. And I know how you give. Give from your heart. I know this body. I know the love that's here. We want healthy finances so we can continue to do what we do. We're touching lives all over this country. Our Course in Miracles class on Wednesday night is all over North America. They come from different places. We have a Monday evening book. You know this already. You can read it in our bulletin. The point is, we're doing a lot. Can I ask you this morning, just this morning for an hour, could you give 10% more than you usually give? Just 10%. Because I know that when I go over and above in my giving, I'm blessed by it. I can't outgive this universe. It always comes back in one way or another, and that's a subject for another message. We'll get to that another time. I ask for you to give this 10% more than you normally give, and watch what happens. See when you bring the tithes into the storehouse, see if I will not pour you out a blessing which there's not room enough to contain. Those are not my words. I ask you to give your best gift as our usher comes forward to take this offering right now. And those of you who are watching online and receive something from us, that you have told me about value, I ask that you send your best gift. Well, you hit the PayPal button first, that would be easiest. But you send your best gift to Unity of Bernie, P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas 78006. Again, that's Unity of Bernie, P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas 78006. Thank you. Together we say our blessing of increase. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I send it forth with my blessings and my love. Go again.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Together we stand and join hands, but we feel comfortable in doing so. Together we say the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Hey. I say, woo!
I say, well done.
That's not it, is it? That's it.
Uh-oh.
No, I was already. Another one you can do is like. Where is it?
Thank you, sir. It always good to hear this. You know what's
All right, one more. One more.
Thank you for those kind words.
My flowers.
Shall we order your lunch for you? Order your lunch in Shanghai? And it's sweet and sour chicken fried rice, egg rolls, she'll get the right range and tell her what you tell her. She knows.
Did you see my research?
Yes, I did.
Take it along. You see, this is where the confusion comes from because they lost just because I'm interested. I got to be. Now look at that, and every time, every week at the end of that, we see the people filing out, and they're on their way to home, to dinner with somebody. Some of us are going to go out to a local restaurant and have a little Chinese food today, and it might be Italian or Mexican or something else. And of course, every third Sunday, we're here, right here, putting our food from home on the table and sharing with one another in our potluck, and you're invited. So come on by and spend some time with us. You're not required to do anything, say anything, or agree to anything. We just like to have guests over when we're eating together and sharing. We don't sit and talk religion or anything like that. We just get to know how each other is and how's your week been. And until next week, we want you to have a most fulfilling week. Thanks for being with us again for the Sunday experience at Unity of One. Bye for now.
In overtime,